Hi everyone.
Hi.
Today we are making choc mint slice. Erica's version of, you know, like the Arnott's mint slice.
I was a big mint slice fan back in the day, but these are a delicious replacement. And I think a good kind of treat to have on hand at Christmas time. You know, chocolate mint is kind of Christmassy vibes, and I think having some of these in the fridge in case people popped over, or you know, you normally have like rumbles and white Christmas and all that type of thing.
And it stores in the fridge.
Yeah, they keep in the fridge for ages. So
unless I eat them all.
So it's basically 3 layers. So there's kind of like a chocolate biscuit base, and then like a mint coconutty filling, and then chocolate on the top. And normally we make big ones, so like 12 big ones, but today we're going to try making some mini ones as well, because I think that would be nice for Christmas time, probably a smaller option.
We always use our silicone molds because it's easier to get them out at the end.
Yeah.
And Erica's got a bunch of different sizes, so we're going smaller today.
Now, I'll go through all the ingredients. So this is all the ingredients we need for the mint slice, but we're going to start by making the base first. So in the base, we're going to have an egg, some almond butter, some granulated sweetener, cacao powder or cocoa powder, a pinch of salt. So that's what goes into the base. And then into the kind of mint layer, we're going to use a mixture of coconut butter and coconut oil with some peppermint essence and some powdered sweetener. So you want to use powdered sweetener in this part because you don't want the kind of granulated texture. Yeah. And then on top, we're just going to use some dark chocolate and coconut oil to go on the top. Now, my biggest tip with these is that you really have to be
patient.
Yeah, patient. And you kind of need the temperatures to be right. So when you're putting the coconut layer onto the biscuit base, you don't want the coconut to be really hot, like because we're melting it. So you want it to kind of cool down, and you want the bases to be cool so that it's going to sit better. And then when you're doing the chocolate on top of the set coconut mixture, you want the chocolate to be kind of warm, not really hot like you've just
because then it starts to melt the coconut.
Yes.
This is probably one of our more involved recipes in that there's a lot of kind of steps. Make the base, cool it down, make the topping. Yeah, there's a lot more steps to it than what we...
But if you like a mint slice,
it's worth it. It's worth it.
So let's start making the base. So we do have our oven preheated because we're going to cook it, and we've got 1 egg here and half a cup of almond butter. And if you're wanting to make this, it's probably best to get the full recipe, which we will link in the description. But we're just going to put all the base ingredients in, and then we are going to mix it together. And with the kind of almond butter and the egg, it kind of goes into quite a thick sort of paste. But I'm going to put our cacao powder in and then give it a mix. So you just want to make sure all the egg and the sweetener is combined. That's the base, so that was pretty easy. So then you can just use your finger to kind of press it out. It's pretty easy dough to work with. You kind of just don't want it coming too much up the sides because it looks nice if you can see the layers. Yeah. So I haven't actually made the mini ones before, but I have made it into a slice. So just done it in like a small loaf pan. So
if you don't have muffin trays or anything, you can just use a tin and slice it up, which we have done a few times before. But I will say it's quite difficult to slice it nicely, so I would recommend going the muffin tray route, especially if you're like using it as a like presenting it.
Yeah, that's right. See, if we're just having it for ourselves,
doesn't matter.
We don't care what it looks like. Okay, so we have pressed them all out. So we did some big ones and some small ones, and now we're going to bake these in the oven. So we had the oven preheated at 160 degrees Celsius, 320 Fahrenheit, and we're going to cook them for 12 to 15 minutes. Now with the smaller ones it might take a bit quicker, so we will just keep an eye on them. Okay, while the bases are cooking, we're going to make the coconut mixture, because as I said before, we want it to cool down before we pop it into the molds. So we have got half a cup of coconut oil. So I'm just going to pop that into a saucepan, and then I'm going to put half a cup of coconut butter.
So coconut butter is just coconut. It's just the pulp of the coconut.
Yeah, like the flesh, I guess.
And it's quite a very thick texture. I will often have it in a sachet. This brand we like, it's Artisana. They also do them in sachets, and it's just pure coconut. It's great for a snack. You can also buy it at some IGAs and health food stores. Some Coles and Woolworths, but we haven't had a lot of success finding it at Coles and Woolworths, so it is a bit more of a specialty item in that you might need to go to IGA or your health food shop.
Yeah, but you definitely need this to make this.
You can't sub it out.
If you just use coconut oil, it's not going to be pleasant to eat. So we've got our coconut oil, our coconut butter, and our salt in here, and what we're going to do is just melt that and dissolve the salt. And then we'll come back and add in our sweetener and our peppermint that's giving us our choc mint slice. Okay, so we have dissolved our coconut oil and coconut butter and salt here. You can see it's like a creamy mixture. If you just use coconut oil, it would be clear, and that would not taste great. So now we're going to add in our peppermint essence. So we've got half a teaspoon. If you like it really pepperminty, you could try it and see if you wanted to.
I wouldn't want much more than that.
See if
I
you
think
wanted
that that's the right amount.
Yeah, or if you're not sure about the peppermint, you could add a little bit less, but I think half a teaspoon is good.
And then smell it.
You can really smell it. And we've got our powdered sweetener here, so we're just going to add a tablespoon, because the coconut butter does have a bit of natural sweetness.
It's got no sugar in it, but it does have a sweetness, yeah.
But this just brings out the sweetness a little bit. Having a bit of difficulty here getting a tablespoon. So it's great now that we can get powdered sweetener at Woolworths. This is the Lakanto brand.
If you can't get powdered sweetener, you can kind of crush up granulated, but it's so much easier to just use the powdered one.
Yeah, so you could, if you don't have powdered, you can grind up granulated sweetener in like a coffee grinder or a spice grinder or like a Thermomix. Okay, so you just want to make sure that your powdered sweetener is all dissolved, so there's no lumps in it. And now we want this to cool down, because we don't want it to be this kind of runny when we're pouring it on top of our base, because it will kind of run underneath. So we just got our bases out of the oven, so we're going to let them cool completely, and we're going to let this cool down a bit, and then we'll come back and pop it together. Okay, so we're up to the next stage of our mint slice. So we've got our coconut and mint mixture here that we've just cooled down, so it's not really kind of hot and runny anymore. And then we've got our bases have also cooled down out of the oven, and you can see it's like a biscuit basically. So what we're going to do is pour some of the mint mixture onto this, then we'll pop them in the fridge to set, and then we can just top them with a bit of chocolate. So we've got the mint mixture, going to pop these in the fridge, and then we'll come back and top them with chocolate once they're set. So our mint slice have been in the fridge for a while now, and you can see they're hard. And we have melted our chocolate. So this was 150 grams of dark chocolate with 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. and I've melted it, and then I've just let it sit on the bench to cool right down. So it's basically barely even warm now, like it's kind of room temperature-ish. Because if we put hot chocolate onto these cold coconut oil, it's going to melt it straight away, and then it will all mix together. You won't get a nice even layer on top. So this is kind of an important part. If you want it to look, it's still going to taste delicious, but if you want it to look nice. So we're just going to spoon some of our chocolate onto the top. These ones, there's not very much room, but you kind of just want a layer of chocolate on the top.
We haven't done them in these small molds before, so it was a bit of an experiment, which I'm super glad we did it on camera, but I think they'll still look pretty good.
You also want to make sure you've got your silicone molds on a tray, or you're sitting them on something to transfer them back to the fridge. Otherwise, it's
messy.
Very, very difficult because they're not firm. But this is fine. It's basically fitting like a teaspoon of the chocolate on top of each one and making it nice and smooth. And we've got our bigger ones over here. Definitely don't know why we made them so big initially. I would make small ones if I was making them again. So now we really want to kind of get them straight into the fridge, because we don't want that white part to start melting at all. Okay, finally, the chocolate is now set, so I'm just going to...
That is perfect!
You want to have a try one?
Yeah, are you not happy with them?
Oh, yeah, it's hard to not... the coconut part not to go
bleed down
into the base, but you can see, like, that's the normal size. I would definitely make mini ones. They're massive.
All right, here we go.
I like how the base is kind of biscuity, like in an Arnott's mint slice.
It's good. It's definitely got peppermint. It's definitely nice and chocolatey. If you're missing a mint slice, you've got to try this for sure. So yummy.
And you get a lot of small ones out of it if you go with the mini options rather than the large options. But I think the mini ones also would be cute for this time of year when, you know, you're putting out little sweet bites for people to enjoy.
Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please guys, if you have, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and thank you so much for watching. Bye. Bye.